Hey there, Cynthia with the Dinner Fix, where I help answer the question, what's for dinner? A couple of weeks ago, I showed you how to spatchcock or butterfly a whole chicken. If you missed that demo, I have provided a link in the description section below to that video, so you can check that out. But today I'm going to be showing you something really simple that you can do with that chicken once it's been butterflied. I'm going to be doing just a very simple kind of pan-seared chicken with a pan gravy to serve alongside. I'm not going to be demoing any sides for this. Really wanted to focus on the chicken and the technique, but really you can serve this with any vegetable, whether roasted, sauteed, steamed. I'm going to be making some steamed carrots and just a simple side salad to serve with this. But let me kind of show you how to make this. So I did some prep work in advance. Last night I spatchcocked the chicken and then I set it to brine in a solution of salt water. And in doing so, it helps ensure that the chicken is going to be seasoned all the way through as opposed to just on the surface level. And secondly, it's going to ensure that our chicken is nice and juicy and retains its moisture throughout the duration of the cooking process. Really, beyond the chicken, only other thing we're going to need for this, at least at this point, is some vegetable oil, a neutral flavored oil, a little bit of butter, and special piece of equipment. I have here just a cast iron skillet that I've lined with foil. I'm going to be using this to weigh the chicken down, and I'm telling you this in advance because once I put the chicken in this pot, it's going to get really loud. And I don't want to have to yell over it, but we'll be using this to weigh the chicken down so that it lays flat and cooks and browns evenly. Now, if you don't have a cast iron skillet, you can take a couple of bricks, yes, bricks, just wrap them in foil and then use the bricks to weigh the chicken down. And once you kind of see me do this, it's going to make sense. So enough talking, let me show you how to do this. So I've been preheating. This is just a stainless steel skillet of sorts, or brazier, that I've been heating over medium heat. I'm going to add our vegetable oil. This is about 2 tablespoons. And then to that, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of butter. And this butter was in the fridge. It's a really warm day today, so where normally I would keep this butter on the counter and it'd be soft, I had to stick this in the fridge, and it's quite hard. You get the idea. That's nice and hot. So we're going to just help that along so that it melts. Actually, I don't always cook with an apron, but today I am going to cook with an apron because this is going to get messy in a second. All right, so our butter has just about melted. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our chicken. I'm just picking this up by the legs, and you want to make sure to pat this dry. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of splattering going on when this goes in. And we're just going to put this breast side down. Now we're going to take our skillet, and we're going to place the skillet on top of the chicken to weigh it down. Now, whereas a chicken of this size, this is about a 4.5 to almost 5-pound chicken, would normally take maybe like an hour and 15, an hour and a half to roast in an oven at 350 degrees. Because we've butterflied this, it's actually going to cook in a fraction of the time. So this is going to take about 10 minutes per pound. So I'm going to set a timer for about 30 minutes at this point, after which we'll take a look at it and give it a flip to let it finish cooking. But for now, I'm just going to leave this alone. I'm going to walk away, do some cleaning up, and then I'll show you kind of what to do next. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes since we set our chicken to cook. We're going to go ahead and remove the skillet here. If you're using bricks, remove those. Now let's take a look at our chicken. You can see that's starting to cook. It's released a lot of fat. All right, so we're gonna flip our chicken now. I'm just using some tongs, and you wanna maybe move it around a little, make sure it didn't stick. This one seems to have one of the drumsticks stuck a little, but nothing we can't work around. So just try and get your tongs kind of around the middle part of the chicken to flip. And you may have noticed those thighs kind of almost fell off the chicken. That's how tender it is, that the thighs are pretty much broken off at this point, are falling apart. Now take a look at that. Is that not gorgeous or what? And we got that golden color just because we let that chicken sit there for those 30 minutes and left it undisturbed. All right, so what we're going to do at this point is we are going to let our chicken continue to cook. This chicken's probably going to take another 15 minutes or so, so just have a timer set there. And what we're looking for is for a thermometer to read 165 degrees when inserted in the fattest part of the thigh. So we'll check it after 15 minutes and see if it needs some more cook time. But for now, again, just going to leave that alone. This would be a great time to get going on whatever side you're going to be making, whether that's a salad or rice or potatoes or some vegetable. I'm steaming some carrots, so I'm going to get that going. But yeah, in a few minutes, I'll show you what this is looking like. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes since we flipped our chicken. And if you recall, we cooked it for 30 minutes on the breast side. So total cook time, we're looking at about 45 minutes on this chicken. That was around 4.5 to 5 pounds, if memory does not fail me, when I bought it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just get under the chicken. Oh, actually, let me unstick the legs. The legs are a little stuck in part, which is okay. There we go. Now this may fall apart on me because the chicken is so tender that the thighs, as you can see, are like hanging on by the skin. So you kind of want to get your tongs around the breast. And we're just transferring this to a cutting board with a well. I'm going to take the temperature and I'm going to insert this in the thigh because the red meat always takes the longest to cook, and I want to make sure that when I insert it, I am not touching the bone because the bone's going to be really hot and it's going to alter the reading if I'm touching the bone. And this looks good. This is at 165. That looks absolutely delicious. As I was kind of showing you when I was trying to transfer the chicken, I mean, this leg quarter has completely come loose from the chicken. That's how tender this chicken is. Now, I mentioned it early on in the recording, but the reason this chicken is so tender is because we took the time to brine it 24 hours before. That salt water really helps tenderize the chicken, keep it moist, and the proof is in, I guess, the chicken. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take just a piece of foil. We're gonna loosely, actually, cut that backwards. We're gonna loosely tent our chicken and we're gonna allow that to rest for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you how to make a pan gravy with kind of the drippings from the chicken that you can serve alongside it. Now you'll notice there's quite a bit of fat that's been rendered from this chicken. There's also, you know, fat from the butter and the vegetable oil that we added in there. We don't want all that fat in our gravy. So what I'm gonna do is I've got a little ramekin here. I'm just gonna drain most of that fat. I'm only gonna leave about a tablespoon behind. So we're just gonna pour that in, leaving behind about a tablespoon. Okay, now with our pan drained, we're going to bring this back up to medium heat. Okay, and we're gonna add a couple of tablespoons of flour to this. The flour is gonna act as the thickening agent for our gravy. But really what we're doing is we're just taking all like the little bits that are on the bottom of the pan, and we're gonna cook the flour in it, add some water, and that's your pan gravy. It's really as simple as that. And you know, you would think because it sounds so simple it can't possibly be that good. It's really, really good. So just giving that a stir, incorporate all that fat in there as well. Just scrape off those little brown bits as best you can. I'm just using a whisk for this. You could use a spoon, but in a minute we're going to be whisking in the water, and this is going to ensure that we don't get lumps in our gravy. Or at least lumps of flour. There might be little like bits of, you know, chicken bits that'll be in there, and that's fine. If you don't like it, if you don't like your gravy to have little chunks, certainly you can strain it once it's all done. So we're whisking away. We're just gonna cook this flour for like a minute or two just so it's not raw anymore. You'll notice after, like I said, about a minute that the scent of the flour is gonna go from like raw flour to almost like a nutty scent. And it's also gonna turn a golden brown. So at this point, we're going to whisk in some water. And I'm just whisking that in gradually, stirring vigorously to ensure a smooth gravy. And then I'm continuing to scrape up all the little brown bits on the bottom of the pan because that's all flavor. And I want that flavor in my mouth, not in the pan. So it won't take long before you see that this is going to start to thicken. Let's drop the heat a little bit. And depending on how thick you like your gravy, I mean, you can add some more water to this, which I'm probably going to do. This is pretty thick. I might add like another 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of water to this just to thin it out some. All right, so let me give this a taste. Actually, we're gonna add some pepper. I doubt this is gonna need any salt because if you recall, we did brine our chicken, and as the chicken cooked, it released salt. So it's probable this will not need any. Actually, let me turn this off. But let's give this a taste. Actually, that could use a little salt. Good thing I checked. Doesn't need much. Maybe a pinch or two. But that's pretty much it. Real simple, right? This is a quick way to get a whole chicken on the table in really under an hour. Of course, you have to brine it the night before, but cook time is really quick. All right, that looks pretty good. You can see that's pretty thick. And again, you can make that a little runnier if you would like, but that's it. So let me grab a plate and we're gonna taste. Oh man, I'm so excited. So excited. Let's see. So the question becomes, do I want, see, that just came right off. Didn't even have to like struggle with that. How many chickens have you roasted in your lifetime where you're like struggling to separate the legs from the rest of the chicken? I think I'm gonna go for some breast meat here. So just gonna kind of carve along here. Oh man, that is delicious looking. Perfectly cooked through, still juicy. All right, so I'm gonna just take our breast. I'm gonna kind of slice it. It's trying to get away from me. It's just gonna go on our plate. All right, and last but not least, of course, our gravy. Give that a stir. And one thing to keep in mind when you're making your gravy is gravy does thicken as it cools, so you might want to make it a little runnier than you normally would when you're cooking it in anticipation of that happening. But look at that. Does that not look absolutely delicious? I'm excited to dig in. All right, so let's give this a taste. I'm gonna get a little bit of the chicken here with the gravy, a little bit of the skin on there. It's so good. This could give those Costco chickens a run for their money. This is absolutely delicious. It's amazing how much flavor you can get out of salt, because that's really all we seasoned this chicken with salt. We seared it in some vegetable oil, a little bit of butter, made a pan gravy with the drippings that we added a little bit of flour and pepper to. But that's really all that went into the making of this chicken, and the flavor that is coming from this is absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I strongly urge you to make this, if not, well, I guess not tonight because you got to brine the chicken, but tomorrow night, sometime this week. It's well worth the effort. And let me know what you think. Until next time, enjoy.